Jaron Boots Ennis says he'll be ready to catch the big fish, Errol Spence Jr., after Saturday night. You can't hold 147 hostage forever. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. So the big homie Boots Ennis gearing up for an IBF interim title shot this Saturday, and that could instantly land Boots Ennis a shot at the big dog, Errol the Truth Spence Jr. And I think Boots is ready. I think Boots is tired of waiting. I think Boots is tired of these guys ducking him. I think Boots has built up such a good name for himself and has done it off of talent and not drama, not whining, not using antics. A lot of fighters whine their way into a championship fight. Guys like Keith Thurman, if you ask me. Keith Thurman's kind of a whiner, if you ask me. He'll talk until he gets a shot. Nothing wrong with that. But when you run into a fighter that's more talented than you, i.e. a Manny Pacquiao for Keith Thurman, what happens? Do you nut up? Or do you go balls to the wall? Because what we saw from Keith Thurman is Thurman nut up. He got beat by Pacquiao and he disappeared. Guys like Boots, when they get their shot, they're either going to win or lose on their talent. It's not going to be any complaining after. It's not going to be any whining after. It's going to be, I didn't prepare correctly, or, I didn't do something correctly. I don't ever see Boots being one of those type of guys, if he did lose to Errol Spence or Terence Crawford, to complain. I think Boots is the type of guy who would say, I'm going to get better and I'll be right back. I'm going to spin that block and I'm going to show you what's up. But, Boots, up until this point, has demolished everybody they put in front of him. There is no fighter that you could put in front of him at this point that I think would show him something that he hasn't seen already. Even though I think most people believe he hasn't fought the best competition up until this point, you can only fight, once again, who they put in front of you. And he's hit that pinnacle to where they can't put any more trash fights in front of this guy because he's popular enough to sell a few pay-per-views, and his talent is so good you can't keep denying it. Now, after he gets this IBF interim title, hopefully, you can't overlook his opponent. But I think the majority vote would go to Boots at the moment of who's going to win that fight. And that could definitely open a lot of doors up for Boots. Boots recently gave an interview, and he had a lot of things to say about Errol Spence Jr. He's never really outright just dissed Errol or called Errol trash or anything, but in this interview he had a few interesting things to say. Basically, I think the most interesting thing that Boots had to say was that he kind of feels like Errol and Terence Crawford are holding the division hostage. And what does he mean by that? When it comes to Errol, I think the fact that Errol has had so many obstacles in the past few years placed in front of him. Now, some of those obstacles could be argued, like, the eye injury, whether that was as significant as they played it up to be, or whether that was something that just got him out of the Manny Pacquiao fight, is to be argued. The car accident, it happened, there's no denying that. Everybody saw the damage he took after he flew through the Lamborghini window. So, you can't really hold that against him, but at the same time, it was holding up the division. And it's funny because at the same time that all of that was going on, back in those days, Manny Pacquiao was a champion still, and people were saying that it was Pacquiao holding up the division, go figure, even though it was Errol Spence who got into the car accident and was the one being inactive. I don't get it. If those people were really being serious about what they were arguing, they would be arguing, why isn't my favorite fighter trying to challenge Manny Pacquiao for that title he was holding? And, of course, they eventually stripped Manny Pacquiao and, got him out of the way. But when it comes to right now, what is it that Errol Spence is doing that is holding up the division? Well, basically, he's gotten into another car accident. We were supposed to see Errol back in February, somewhere around January, February time. And he got into another accident. Now that's getting pushed all the way out until April. And so it seems like every time Errol Spence is supposed to have a mandatory defense of his title, or is linked to like Boots or Virgil, or someone like that, not Crawford, Manny Pacquiao. Seems like anytime he's about to fight any good fighter except for Terence Crawford, he ends up getting out of it somehow. And maybe that's a testament to Errol Spence's escapability in and outside of the ring. But it does bring up a lot of question marks. And I would have to agree with Boots that in a lot of ways that is holding up the division, because the young fighters can't get their opportunities at titles that they, title shots that they deserve, because the older fighters, the champions of today, they either in an accident, or they're hurt, or they need this done, or they're negotiating with another champ. There's always something in the way of the young guys getting the opportunity. And I think if Boots can secure the interim title of the IBF, that would definitely secure him, I believe, the shot at Errol Spence next. I think it would even get him a shot quicker than they're trying to push this Keith Thurman fight. Now, once again, it wouldn't be hard to make the Boots fight for PBC, being that PBC and Showtime already do business with each other. So, for anybody saying, well, they're going to have to go across, to another promotion, no, Boots isn't signed to a promotional company. He has a deal outright with Showtime. I need to go see if I can find some information about his contract, because that's pretty interesting that he signed directly to Showtime. When it comes to Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford is just outright ducking people. Errol Spence is a little bit more clever with it, I think Team Spence, they know how to spin it a little better. And I hate to say that they're ducking fights, because car accidents are serious situations, but they always seem to find a way out of it. And kudos to them. Big up to them for figuring out a way to get out of stuff. But it's funny as a boxing fan and a commentator that it over and over this keeps happening, and it's funny to have to watch the Spence fans, the real Spence fans out there. I like Spence, but I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore Spence fan. But I do like Spence. I think he's the best of today, and he deserves everything that he's getting at the moment. But it's funny to watch the hardcore Spence fans spin it, man. It becomes like it just becomes comedy at that point. But Terence Crawford, he's just outright ducking, man. He does not want to challenge himself at all. He doesn't want to get into the ring and be embarrassed by someone he thinks he's better than. Whether he's actually better than them or not, that's the question. And that's why you have to get in the ring and challenge yourself. But if you're unwilling to face off with the best fighters, how could you actually call yourself the best? Michael Jordan could have never called himself the best if he didn't go through Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkinson, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon. You can go on for days and days and days of the high caliber talent that Jordan made look average over the span of his career. And I think Terence Crawford, he lacks that credibility on his resume. Errol Spence has a little bit more, but I think Boots is going to be that guy who really comes in and plays the Michael Jordan role of 147 pounds. I think his name is going to surpass both of those guys. He's going to reel in the big fish sooner than later. And this shot at the IBF interim could very well kick everything off. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down in the comments section below. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. And we are...
Loose keys. KY cutthroat, rolling up thumb, blowing smoke like a tugboat. If you know me, then you know I get my rep on. Big nasty green, I'm trying to get my Shrek on. New gun rack for me to sit my tech on. New guillotine for you to sit your neck on. Acting like a chick, you should probably have a dress on. High heels and wig, makeup and press on. See me in the club, I'm getting my two-step on. Bottle in my hand, I can use as a weapon. If you're out of order and getting your disrespect on. What's a hot track? Anything I put my breath on. Now when they heard this, everybody gon' feel it. Work in the back, make the car pop a willy. When I first dropped, they was acting all silly. Now I'm on fire, everybody gon' feel it. It's your boy Keith, tell them who they dealing with. It's your boy Keith, tell them who they dealing with. It's your boy Keith, it's your boy Keith, it's your boy Keith, it's your boy Keith. Now hating on me, anything I stand for, that's suicide like doors on the Lambo. Come through deep, that's how you get your man smoked. Try and give me that, that's how you get your hand broke. You out of line, you hate to be cold. I'm on the grind, I'm making the dough. Shorty low, her booty is scraping the floor. She don't know that I'm taping it